Early on, we're dealt 7 deuce offsuit in the big blind. We're playing the 7 deuce game, so if we win with this hand, we'll receive $200 from each player at the table. Player in middle position raises to 150. The button calls. I like to mix in calling and 3-betting. I call for 100 more this time. We're going 3 ways to the flop out of position. It comes king 8-5 all hearts. We're going to be defending a lot of suited combos from the big blind, so we're the most likely person to flop a flush. I check. The initial pre-flop raiser won't have a ton of flushes when there's a king, or even more so with an ace out on a monotone flop like this one. He checks, the button checks back, we've got the green light to start bluffing. The turn is the 4 diamonds, I like it. We've got removal to both straight and flush combos. There's no reason to believe that either of our opponents are strong. We're by far the most likely candidate to be holding 2 pair or better given the board and the action. I make a slight overbet of 600 to ideally take this one down without any resistance. Within about a half a second, both opponents fold. We turn over our cards to give everyone the bad news that they owe us $200 each. Not only do we win the pot, we win an additional $1,400. Today we're trying this brand new thing where we don't get into a gaping hole immediately. It's good to be winning right away for a change. Here we look down at Queen Jack suited in the cutoff. Under the gun kicks things off with a raise to 150. We're mostly going to be calling, but we can 3-bet as well. I call to see a flop in position. The big blind also calls. 3 of us are advancing. The flop comes 8-3 deuce, all diamonds. We flop the 3rd nuts and have multiple opponents. The big blind checks. Under the gun checks. We're not going to be slow playing since our hand is vulnerable. If another diamond comes out, we'll have to be concerned that someone could be holding the ace or king of diamonds for higher flush. And even if they aren't, it'd be tough to get paid by a worse holding with 4 to a flush on board. I make a small bet of 150. I'll go for a much larger sizing on the turn if it's a good card for us. The big blind folds. Under the gun wants to see at least one more card. He calls. There's a good chance that he's holding one of those higher diamonds. The turn is the ace of hearts. I love seeing it. Hopefully our opponent just improved the top pair to go along with a flush draw, which will give him false hope that he could win without hitting a flush. He checks. This is when we lay down the law with a large bet and target his ace-x offsuit. If he happens to already have the ace or king high flush, he's going to make a lot of money from me because we're not going to be getting rid of our hand at this juncture. I make a healthy bet of 550 to build a pot so big that Bob would be proud of it. The opponent doesn't have any issues with the sizing. He makes the call. If we can get a blank on the river, we'll be bombing it. The dealer puts out the 5 of diamonds. It's an absolutely awful card to see. Our queen high flush is easy to spot, and we may have just lost the lead. Under the gun is at least going to rep the ace of diamonds with a significant bet of 1200. We've been showing strength the whole way. There's really no reason for the opponent to think that we won't have the ace of diamonds, so this would be an extremely gutsy line as a bluff or with any hand worse than ours. It's an annoying spot because we got such an amazing flop, but these are the kinds of situations I've been trying to get better at, which is not paying off when they're telling credible stories that they have the nuts regardless of how strong our hand was. The issue is that it's just so fun to pay people off for the vlog. But no, Brad, don't do it. I stick to my New Year's resolution of playing better. I fold. The opponent is courteous enough to let us know that he got there on the river by showing the ace of diamonds. It seems our read was correct. We avoid losing an additional $1,200 at the end. I appreciate you showing. After adding on for 5 figures more, we're dealt ace-king offsuit on the button. We're in for $33,000 total at the moment, not playing particularly well. The New Year's resolution is out the window, but things can change quickly. Like my man Ted Lasso says, we've got to have a memory like a goldfish. The past hands don't matter and shouldn't affect our future decisions. It'll be tough to have a winning session, but we can potentially still salvage some money. A player in middle position raises to 150. He's on the tighter side. While we can always 3-bet, we're actually supposed to call with ace-king offsuit a lot more than people may realize in this situation. I flat to play a pot in position with a well-concealed hand. Small blind isn't going to let anyone see a flop for 150. He 3-bets to 750. He has 7,300 total in his stack. The initial raiser folds. I'm glad to see that. After playing passively, we can now go for an unexpected back 4-bet with a hand that'll be tough for the small blind to put us on. I re-raised to 2,000. Our play should look odd to the small blind. He might even 5-bet jam light with ace-x suited or 7 deuce, thinking that we'd never play aces or kings this way. What could we possibly have? I already know what we'll do if the opponent shoves for 5,300 more. We'll be calling. The small blind jams. We grab a black chip to make the call. The small blind asks if we want to run it twice. I say it's up to him as I show our cards. The small blind reveals that he has ace-king of spades. Since he's suited, he's slightly ahead, but it's very likely that we'll chop, so we decided to run it one time. We don't want to see any spades on the flop. The dealer puts out queen, queen, jack with one spade. That's not too bad. As long as there's no spade on the turn, we'll split the pot. The deck doesn't always comply though. Thank God. Poker gods make it as torturous as possible with the opponent turning the flush draw, but ultimately we split the pot. Otherwise, we'd have been down 3 buy-ins. I'll certainly take the chop after a very stressful few hours of playing so far. Ace-king offsuit under the gun, I raised to 125. The player on our left calls. The hijack 3-bets to 425. He's another VIP, which is the status that I've secured with today's play. The game has gotten pretty good. When we get 3-bet after opening when we're first to act, it's alarming though. We should really only be up against a very narrow range of top tier hands, so I'm not inclined to 4-bet. I call for 300 more. Under the gun +1 also calls. 3 of us are seeing the flop. We're out of position. The flop comes queen 8-5 with 2 clubs. We don't have a pair, but we've got 2 overs and some strong backdoor draws. I check. Under the gun +1 checks. The hijack is going to take a stab at it. He bets 350. I'm not in a hurry to let go of ace-king, and we have a few ways to win. If we hit an ace or king, we should be good. A club on the turn will open up some doors for us as well. We can maybe even turn our hand into a bluff to represent the ace-high flush that we have removal for. I call to at least see one more card. Under the gun +1 folds. It's down to heads up. The turn is the 5 of clubs pairing the board, but we pick up the flush draw. I check. The hijack is putting his foot to the floor. He bets 750. Calling and playing out of position with hopes of hitting a club on the river isn't the most appealing option. I prefer to try to win the hand on this street and hit a flush only if we need to as a backup option. I check raise to 2400 as a semi-bluff. I can tell right away that the hijack isn't happy to see it. He gets his hand caught, trying to take Teddy KGB's Oreos even though the rack clearly says don't touch. The opponent folds showing 7 deuce. He was trying to get $200 from each player at the table. Our timing in hand finally works out today. We were bluffing with the lead. It's 2 pots in a row that are pushed towards us. I don't want to get you guys' hopes up, but I'm feeling a comeback. All we need to do is win 20 more pots just like this one, and we'll be out of the $25,000 hole that I dug for us. We pick up queens and another $200 bomb pot. We're on the button. Usually this isn't the time when you want to pick up a premium because it's hard to beat out 7 other random holdings without improving, but I'm okay with it now. The flop comes Jack 7-3 rainbow. We've got an overpair to the board. The player in middle position makes a small bet at 300. We can't allow him to get away with a wager of that size. The hijack likes discounts. He calls. Our hand can benefit from protection. Not only do we not want to see overcards, we have no idea what other random cards we may need to fade in order to retain the lead if we have it at all. If we want to win, it's important to narrow down the field though. I raised to 1200 in order to accomplish just that. If we get re-raised, we can comfortably fold knowing that we're probably up against 2 pair or a set. The player in middle position calls for 900 more. He could be playing a set tricky, but it's more probable that he has top pair with a decent kicker like ace-jack. The hijack also calls, which is something that I didn't expect to see. This has me very concerned that pocket queens isn't the best hand. The turn is the 4 diamonds. It could be a blank, or maybe someone has the Robbie. It's possible that one of our opponents has 6-5 of diamonds, clubs, or hearts. It checks to me. We don't want to blast away with 1 pair when 8 people saw the flop with uncapped ranges. I check back for pot control. The river is the ace of spades. It's a terrible card for a ton of reasons. It checks to us once again. If we bet, we'd basically be turning our hand into a bluff because it's difficult to get called by worse. I check back. The middle position player has Jack 10. We beat that. The cutoff has Jack 3 though. He flopped top and bottom pair. It holds. I lose a disappointing one, but at least I lose close to the minimum by checking back turn. When I'm struggling to make hands and in the midst of getting slaughtered, it's important to take solace in small victories to try and be in a better headspace.